And I'm back. RJB is here, ready to bring you some Starcraft Brood War casts. And don't mind that very poorly made in paint introduction picture, because right now we're going to focus on what's really important. And that is the game we have before us right here, right now. And this game between the player Voss, also known as JH, in StarCraft world. He's playing the Grey Protoss on the middle right of the map, and here we have 1588 Trisha, also known as Lee Buk-nam, and yeah, he's a player from Korea, and a recent friend of mine, and he's playing the Teal Protoss on the other side of the map, on the top left corner of the 8-spot map, known as Styler or HS or New Super, whichever name you want to call it. They've been changing those names up. What matters is it's the Korean fastest map. And yeah, this should be an interesting match because both players are pretty good players. I'd say they're about the same level of player, although I'd say Voss has a better Terran than Trisha has. But they're pretty much the same on Zerg and Protoss, so this should be a pretty even match between these two players. Voss starting out with 2 gateways and a pylon, instead of Trisha, who's starting out with a Nexus followed by a Forge, so he's going for a more defensive build, but he'll be ramping up around the 5 to 7 minute mark, where he'll have a higher worker count than Voss, but Voss does have the option to be more aggressive here and probably deal a little bit of damage if he manages to probably snipe the one cannon that Trisha's going to make, because that's something Koreans do. They go for a single cannon. And considering it's easier to defend all your buildings with a single cannon, unlike on this western space map. Because for example, here if you got the minerals over there, this cannon here protects this entire area. So then you finish the gateway, you make a zealot. The zealot can then block other zealots that are coming into your base from the enemy, and then protect your cannon, and your cannon protects you. There he goes. Gas cybernetics core coming out right now. Voss also added on a Nexus, but he is delayed by quite a bit. And he's not fully committing to this 2 gateway build that he's got there. It's basically just the thing that if your opponent is right next to you, you can probably deal a little bit of harassment to him if he doesn't go for this singular cannon right there. But I guess it's more a defensive build as well, those 2 gateways. You try to defend against very early offensive units from your opponent. And with those 2 zealots, you can probably defend a little bit easier, because I don't see a lot of offensive capability in this build for the early game. So it's a little bit of a compromise between 2 worlds, whereas Trisha is just going all out on the economy build. But they are now matching each other's gateway count, 3 gateways for both players. There's a cybernetics core here for Voss. He added on 2 simulators, so I assume he's going to be going for Dragoons here. Coming down, and Trisha is going for Citadel of Dune, so most likely going for Dark Templars, which is a pretty good counter against Dragoons, because he has the information here right now. And I don't think Voss has found Trisha yet, but he's finding him now. Another cannon has been thrown down. 2 zealots are there, ready to block zealots from getting access to that cannon. They're in the back, but now forced back, grouping with those other zealots. And I'm actually quite surprised here, because it looks like Voss is not going for Dragoons. He's instead going for... Well, he's got a lot of options here. He can go for drops, reavers, he can go for Observer. He's going for Observers first, evidently, because he saw this Citadel of Dune, which means there's a Templar's Archive coming out as well, given the condition that there is no robotics facility out. Zealots now fighting each other. Let's see who is winning this one. It's not Trisha, because he's got lower numbers here. The fight is working out quite well for... I'm going to switch the colors here, make it a little bit easier for you to see, because they kind of blend into each other, the gray and the teal, once they're standing right next to each other. Blue and red is way easier to see and perceive. So there's another gateway, 4 gateways out now for Trisha, 1 still on the way. Another gas has been added for Voss. Voss is going for the drops, I assume, or he's going for the detection. No Dark Templars are on the way for Trisha. Trisha is going for the Storm Drop. He's not spending his gas yet. He's still somewhat low. Oh, wait. There's a Dark Templar. Dark Templars are finally on the way, and a Templar is on the way as well. 2 Templars, in fact. Recharging Storm as well. Shuttle is on the way. Now these Zealots are just trying to bait those Zealots to getting into the cannon range, but it's not working out all that well. And now Dragoon is out for Voss. 2 Dragoons. They're gonna be functioning as the first measurement of anti-drop. This one's gonna try to harass a little bit, try to deal some damage on the edges here of Trisha's base. Both players being a little bit conservative here. Not a lot has happened yet. Well, this is, yeah, you can qualify this as stuff happening, but hasn't yielded much results other than keeping Trisha on his toes. And Trisha is keeping himself on his toes quite well. He's not taking any risks. The Dark Templar now scaring those Zealots away. This Dragoon here on the side, just scouting one last time before pulling back to the base. Dragoons here on the side, scouting the base, getting vision of all the corners here. And preparing themselves to intercept drops. But there's already a dropship, a shuttle, leaving the base of Trisha over the southern side of his base, and is going to try to enter Voss's base over the southern side of his base, which is the side people usually wouldn't expect the first drop to be coming from. You always expect it to come from the shortest path, from the mindset of trying to hit that as fast as possible. But sometimes it's good. It's a good idea to just delay it by a little bit and wait for it to find a better path into the opponent's base. And Voss is not going for the drop just yet. He's going on that single shuttle. He's going to use it to get vision over the hill, and he finds Trisha's shuttle. Voss now moving his Dragoons down to the bottom side, but will those Templars get any result? The first Templar doesn't get any result. The second Templar is still in there. He's going to wait and fly back in once those probes are back on the minerals. Now he's going to try. He's turning around. Can he get in there? Voss notices. Voss pulls off his probes. Probes running to safety. He cannot get a good storm off on either of those groups. Great pull from Voss. Managed to keep them all alive. And no danger yet for Voss. Voss stays alive. Well, he would have stayed alive nonetheless, although his mineral count was quite low at that specific timing in the game. But he keeps all of his workers alive. Both players are now with 49 workers. Trisha now shooting ahead. He lost a couple of probes in the process of getting harassed there. Probably probes getting picked off. Starting the skeleton of his base now. Like what they usually do is a row of pylons here, so they can make gateways there and not obstruct anything else that's going to be made here. Another gateway there, another gateway there, and then no gateway here, and another 2 gateways there. Just like this little bit, you're just going to repeat that 5 gateway pattern all over the base. And then this bottom corner, this spot right here, pylon, cannon, pylon, 4 gateways, and the same here. No choke. That's a rule in Korean PvP. This is the biggest choke you are allowed to make with the Korean Protoss versus Protoss rules, which is basically just a single cannon for detection purposes to spot a Dark Templar. And that's all you're allowed to make as your choke. You're allowed to make as many cannons anywhere else in your base except for this portion here in the front. But back to the game itself. Another drop is flying out for Trisha. This time he's going to try to really deal a little bit of damage, or a lot of damage to Voss. Voss also flying a drop out over the other side of the map. So opposite sides of the map now being traversed by shuttles. Reaver inside that shuttle. There's Dragoons there ready to intercept, but there's no vision here for Trisha. Trisha is getting spotted out there on the bottom side of the map very soon once he tries to fly that one in. Voss manages to fly in. Dragoons not responding quite well in time. Probes getting pulled off the minerals, but the Reaver shot is going to be a dud. It's nothing. Reaver gets picked up. Reaver flies closer. Reaver gets in the range of the cannon. Reaver now trying to shoot on probes. Mining gas. Kills 3. Not much happened, but now the drop on the map is happening as well. Voss tries to snipe the shuttle. Shuttle makes it through. Storm comes down. A lot of probes, but no, most of those probes managed to get away. Mostly 10 probes there went down. So this is the bigger win for Trisha, getting more probe kills than Voss managed to do. But the difference, the amounts of probes that died is so small. The difference is so insignificant that this doesn't really yield a net gain for either player, because both players can just, nope. Trisha's trying to go offensive here. Voss can play it safe because he's got this sufficient amount of units to defend himself with. He also has a Reaver here, land behind the other units, and Reaver micro with. Although I do know that his Reaver micro is not one of the best, as he set himself. And another drop here tried to hit, but the drop missed. Or maybe it was just the shuttle going back in and faking it. And Trisha gets fought off successfully, pulls back. Is he going to try to get storms off on those Reavers? Or is he just going to accidentally walk those? Oh, he's going to manage to get the storm off, but misses the Reaver just by a bit. Reaver gets pulled back. Another drop is probably on the way for Trisha here. Where is it? I'm not seeing it. Now, I should be coming up soon. Just getting control over his sides there. Making sure that whatever Voss sends his way inside of shuttles gets spotted out and isn't missed. Same here for Voss, but Voss is using observers on his sides to spot the sides here. And which cannot be cleaned out unless Trisha uses an observer himself. Now Trisha making sure to kill that Dragoon there to protect his pylons. The pylons were in threat of being cleared out. Still managing to contain Voss. Voss is playing it safe because he knows he lost a couple of probes, meaning he has to play safe, cannot take a lot of risks. Which gives Trisha the opportunity to just keep adding on to his base and to take the offensive in his hands. Setting out another shuttle, loading up with Templars. No action at the moment. But you just know that this is the calm before the storm. You can see it because all these units here line up in front of each other. And the fight starts. Trisha goes in. Voss is lagging behind a little bit by about 30 supply. But this Reaver here in the back is, in my opinion, the difference maker. If you can keep that Reaver alive, Reaver is not going to get sniped. Reaver is going to get sniped, just as I'm mentioning it. Failing to keep it alive, but a lot of Dragoons are dying trying to get that Reaver down. This means that Trisha overcommitted there on trying to get a Reaver down, but he's still ahead in supply. He saw the drop there. He saw the drop flying over the hill there, so he's pulling back his Dragoons, ready to intercept that shuttle. Shuttle's gonna get... Oh, he cleaned out the observer still alive. The shuttle got spotted by that observer. Shuttle goes in. Shuttle gets sniped down. Shuttle is dead. And that means that Voss has repelled the first attack and the drop happening at the same time. Trisha's sending out a couple of more units. Another shuttle has already been loaded up. He's going to try to go in over the bottom side once again because he assumes that this observer is not there because he used his own observer and Dragoon to clear out this portion here. But the observer is a little bit further away outside of the range of either of these two units. It's going to get spotted out once again because it will fly in right over the observer. And there it is, gets spotted out. They pause the game for a little while. Hope that doesn't screw with the corruption of the game or no corruption of the game. Observer following the shuttle. Shuttle's now going in. Shuttle is being intercepted because Dragoons have been put in the right spot there. And he fails to snipe the Templars or the shuttle. And a great storm coming down, killing about 35 probes in total. Huge hit for Trisha. Builds himself a huge lead over Voss there. Voss is not sending out a counter drop just yet. He's been on the defensive. He's not being... He's playing kind of lazy, in a sense. I mean, his APM is very high, but he's completely focused on defending. Hasn't sent out any counter drops. He has botted to clear out these pylons here on the side. Using a Dark Templar, he's just trying to defend. Maybe he's not feeling it today, but he's definitely lagging behind on Trisha. And Trisha already sending out another shuttle, this time over the top side of the map. Does not get spotted out by that. Got spotted out. So he did see a little bit of a glimpse, but I'm not sure if he was looking at the minimap at the same time. But it gets spotted out by... Yeah, it gets spotted out by the other observer that's also there, but they're in the front here. A fight is happening, but this fight is just there to distract Voss from this drop. Drop manages to fly in, drop gets sniped. Templar gets a storm off on 2 pylons, which doesn't really deal damage. So the game progresses slowly but surely. Trisha is still adding on to his base, making sure he's got that drop tag all pumped up. He's going for 3 robotic facilities. He can just pump out shuttles, send them out into the fray non-stop. Fight still happening here, but the fight is going into favor of Voss because Voss has those 2 Reavers there in the back and simply a higher unit count present here. And Trisha is just taking a little bit. Ooh, he gets spotted out. Shuttle gets spotted out. Other shuttle also gets spotted out. There's a Templar in there and 2 Zealots, which means that Trisha is now going to reposition his Dragoons to intercept that one once it comes flying in, while also trying to fly in his own drops at the same time. Where did that shuttle go? Shuttle? I saw a shuttle flying somewhere. There's 3 shuttles, 3 Templars, and a single Zealot in there. So basically it comes down to Voss can snipe any of these 3 shuttles, but he won't be able to snipe all of them at the same time. Even though a lot of Dragoons is now spawned, so he's going to be able to focus at least, snipe at least 2 down. And 2 Templars come out, 2 Storms coming out. He kills a lot of probes there. Kill all these 50 probes there. Now Voss back on 29 probes. And the drop that was happening at the same time on the other side of the map failed because it got intercepted by these Dragoons. They're happening both at the same time. So I had to pick one, and I picked the right one because this one missed completely. Great dodge from Trisha there. Manages to keep all of his probes alive. Hasn't lost any probes this entire game, aside from a couple of probes. I think 2 or 1 to the Zealots from the early game. So he's been building himself up bigger and bigger. Propelled himself ahead of Voss by quite a bit, although he does have a lot of overmine. Hasn't finished his base yet, but he's completely focused on just being aggressive and offensive. and keeping Voss on his toes, making sure Voss has to keep spending on defending. So Voss has not yet time to rebuild comfortably and can spend where he wants to spend it. Instead, he has to spend on units and defend. Drop here on the bottom side of the map, about to be flying in, but a drop here on the other side of the map, also flying in at the same time. Which one will it be? This drop, the shuttle's unloading. And this one got sniped. Now this means that this one is going to be the one dealing damage, but the drop gets dodged really, really well. So it means both drops misfiring. Great handle from Trisha and Voss. Trisha now going in once again, tries to go in through the front. Tries to take on the Reaver. Reaver gets pulled back. Reaver stays alive. Reaver gets shut up on those Dragoons. Dragoons now kind of in a stalemate. Pulls back those Dragoons. Tries to go in. Decides against it. And is he going to find these observers sometime soon? He managed to clear out the observers on the top side here. So he's denying Voss a lot of vision there on the top side. As we can see here. Does not have a lot of vision. He can see those drops here. Because this observer is hanging close to the wall. Observer's going to get sniped down. Or not. Wait, the shuttle here is going to fly in, but it's empty. Real shuttle's coming in over the bottom side, but there's two observers here that have spotted out. Oh, he cleaned out this observer. There's only a single observer here, but this observer spots this shuttle. Shuttle flies in. Shuttle is uncontested. Comes down the Storm. Storm kills another 13 probes. Great hit for Trisha. Trisha still has a lot of overmind, but he's spending nonetheless. But he hasn't been adding on to his base, which I'll admit, given how much he's doing at the same time, quite impressive that he's been capable of keeping Voss so small. It is a slow but tedious fight. Voss is holding quite well. I feel another drop is going to be coming in soon. There it is. That's one single Templar, two Templars, the Zealot and a Dragoon in those shuttles. And fight here in the front. Slowly tearing Voss's unit count in the front down. What really matters is this drop here. Will this drop hit? Will this be a dud? Refocuses the shuttles. Shuttles are uncontested. No Dragoons. They are ready to intercept. Shuttles unloading. One Templar is out. Templar gets blocked. Templar gets a storm off. Templar kills about 3. Another storm comes down. Kills about 4. So about 7 kills there. Not the best storms, but he tried to pick what we thought was best and failed. But now drop comes in from Voss. Voss's shuttle gets sniped down. Templar gets down. Templar gets a storm off. Kills about 15 probes. Pulls back. So decent storm. Decent pickup. The game extends itself once again. No game finishing storm drops have been hit so far. But Voss, hang in there. JH is doing a good job. Staying alive. But I have a feeling he might get overrun anytime soon, or at least once the next drop hits, he might just have no income left to preserve his life with. So 46 probes, it's a pretty decent amount. 72 for Trisha. He located a lot of Dragoons here on the bottom side, and he took down the observer that Trisha had there. So Trisha doesn't know that these Dragoons are there. Trisha now fighting on the front, storming on the Reaver, storming on the Dragoons. Reaver gets loaded up, dodges the storm quite well. Nice move from Voss there, making sure he stays alive. Templar gets shutted down. Drop goes in. Drop is managing to unload. Gets the storm off on pretty much all the probes that JH had there. Killed about 30. No, not 30. About 25 there. Get about 25. A group of probes survives, but this means that JH, aka Voss, will not be able to replenish his unit count, which means that all it takes for Trisha is to send out his next wave of units. He hasn't really added onto his base at all. He hasn't built anything whatsoever inside of his entire base, but he's been doing a great job of keeping Voss small. So this kind of means that you don't always gotta have great macro or spending. As long as you can deal effective hits on your opponent, you can build yourself a small lead, and that small lead can snowball into a bigger lead, into an even bigger lead, and eventually you win the game, which I think is going to happen right here very soon, because these storms are hitting those Dragoons pretty hard. He's got way better upgrades than Voss. Voss is on 2-1-3. That's 2-3. Pretty much the same upgrades, only a single digit difference. Drop flies in here. Drop, is it gonna snipe it? Drop gets sniped. Great awareness from Trisha. Great map vision from Trisha. Now another drop coming here on the bottom side of the map. Let's see when Voss can see it. Voss has nice vision with this observer. He's losing units in the front there, but staying alive, using his units quite well. Now the shuttle comes flying in and unloading those Templars. Templar gets a storm off, kills 6. kills 8. Not all that many kills. 14 kills, not that many. But he's keeping Voss on a very low probe count, which is what matters. 34 probes. And now waves of units come streaming in. He's got nothing to replenish these Dragoons in the front with. He's still licking his wounds. Now, Dragoons have been queued up, but the Dragoons have been queued up way too late. Now the drop comes flying in over the front this time, because he can just fly in over the front this time around. There's nothing there to take down these shuttles. He's just hanging there, and he's going to try to go in. The shuttle almost gets sniped. But he's got another Templar in there, and now the drop flies in. Goes for those probes and loads the Templar. Voss calls it GG because he sees that he's got nothing whatsoever to reel himself back into the game with. There's no units in his base. I mean, no units of his own in his base, aside from those 5 Dragoons that are pretty much in the process of dying. Templars being dropped right next to his probes. No way he's going to dodge those storms, because there's 3 Templars in there. Means all those probes there are gone. Bye-bye. And after a pretty slow, creepingly slow game, non-stop action though, but a creep, Trisha kept creeping up on Voss, bit by bit. Tug of war, gaining a little bit of ground, like a very long, slow touchdown run, a touchdown drive in football, where you start on the other side of the base, other side of the map, the field. Oh god, you start on the other side of the field and slowly gain a little bit from every third down. You get a new first down, no fourth downs, very slow progression, steady, slow, but it wins the race. Yeah, let's get the next game going. Woohoo! I've got this beautiful little image here, ready to keep your eyes bright on the screen. And prevent spoilers, pretty much. That's pretty much the entire goal of that image. Prevent spoilers, because you can see the game length when I'm hosting, and I don't want you to see the game length. Alright, let's get into game number 2 between Trisha and JH, aka Voss, who is the winner of Season 14 Starcraft World 1 vs 1 ladder. Won himself a nice $110. Did so by beating tanks, and I just spoiled that entire tournament video. But yeah, I'm sorry for that one. Alright, so game number 2, Gray against Red. I hope Gray is easy to read. And yeah, so the score 1-0 for Trisha. Voss held in quite well for a full 20 minutes, but he couldn't handle those drops. Kept getting hit. Trisha did a great job of denying him vision, denying him that extra bit of reaction time to those drops. Which I think is one of the most important things on fastest map, is denying your opponent reaction time to drops. You're already making the opponent a little bit close to his choke. You could say it's almost in the middle of his entire base. This is where his choke is. Well, I assume he's going offensive here. Otherwise, you wouldn't place that pylon so far away. Because you leave your nexus completely unprotected if you were to not go offensive with this build. Well, there's gateway, another gateway, and he goes out for a scout. He's going to start with a sideways scout, I assume, because that's the best way to go about this. Goes for a mid spot first. I think he's just going to go in a circle here for all mid spots, see if there's something there. And then he's going to go for the corner spots with the Zealots, I assume. +1 Nexus for Voss. And then a gateway. No Forge. The gateway instead. Which means that Voss is taking some big risks here. By going for a gateway and not going for a Forge. A Forge would give him the option to immediately start with the defense. But I think he assumed that Trisha is definitely not doing some cheeky 3 gateway PvP build as he is doing right now. Pylon here so he can start protecting his main once he has a Forge up. That's a smart move, but it does mean that his gateways are powered by a single pylon there. And there's no Forge. 2 gas coming out. He's almost scouted the entire map. He's gonna start scouting corner spots very soon. Oh, he started with... Right, so he's just ignoring this one spot on the side here. But there's the cybernetic score coming out now for Voss. Voss is going for Dragoons. Has to be a Dragoon build, cannot be anything else whatsoever. And the Dragoon build pretty much counts on the Protoss going for a single gateway build or a Forge build, which would then give the Dragoons the opportunity to harass from the sides outside of the cannon range. before the Protoss has any significant amount of Zealots or Dragoons out himself. Or Dark Templars for that matter. But the build that Voss tries is just going to be failing right here and now because those Zealots are out inside of his base and there's nothing to protect his probes with, so this means no income. No income means he cannot produce any units. He has to cancel his gateway if he wants to have a chance. He's trying to fight against those Zealots, but Koreans disallow stacking your workers. And Voss is losing his probes and more Zealots come in. He calls no GG, just leaves the game straight up. And that means that the score is now 2-0 for Trisha, and Voss is down 2 games. And, oh Jesus Christ. Alright, that's embarrassing. I'm gonna keep that in there. I'm just gonna write in the description, skip over the entire portion. I'm not gonna use that image anymore. It's just like, Jesus Christ. That image is gonna screw me over so hard. Alright, that's embarrassing. So I'm gonna keep that in. From now on, I'm just gonna go back to pausing again instead of losing an image overlay. I'm glad I learned that in my first video. Well, not my first video. One of my first videos using an overlay. Right, be right back. I'm gonna go into game number 3, and after I play this back on fast speed, so you can see what happened. I'm really sorry. Right, let's go fast speed. So exactly what I was talking about. Just imagine that the things I said prior are happening right now, although you probably skipped ahead. Right, so coming in, I screwed over this game. Whoop, 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 whoop. 2 gateways. Ooh, he's going for a Nexus. Oh, that means he's going to be exposed to those gateways. Oh, 3 gateways instead. He's counting the map now. There's 2 gateways coming out here for Voss, but Voss does not have a forge. No forge, it means he's going to be exposed once he gets found by those Zealots, but the Zealots will be out way before he can have any defense up. Oh, he's going for a Dragoon build. 4 gateways, 2 gazers, mining the gas. There's 7 at his court. The Zealots come into his base. Zealots are now hammering away on his probes. Probes are going to be dying to those Zealots. And that's the game that I skipped over by accident by using the overlay. So now you know what happened. Luckily, it was only a 3-minute game, so nothing to worry about. And I'm now going to pause the game and load into game number 3. Alright. This time I made sure to unpause the recording so that we're going to be able to see the game itself. I didn't use an overlay to hide the game by accident. So we can also exclude that one as an option of something that could be ruining the game. Yeah, I apologize once again, but at least you saw the game in fast forward ×4. So it all happening in quick time. Voss got his ass handed to him because he went for a very greedy, risky build. It's pretty much just a complete gamble, depending what the opponent does. Although I have to admit, Trisha did something very unorthodox for Korean PvP. I'm going to speed up the early game a little bit, up until we see something of value happening. There's a pylon coming out for both players. They are mirroring each other. Trisha here on the top side of the map goes for a Nexus. Voss also going for a Nexus. Alright, so both players going for a Nexus, going for gateways. Trisha goes for a Forge, taking no risks whatsoever. Voss is once again taking the same risk he did last game, but he's expecting that Trisha is not. Definitely not. Alright, he's not taking that much risk anymore. He's throwing down a Forge, although after the gateway, but still he's throwing down a Forge. Means he can have cannons down before those Zealots could theoretically be waltzing into his base. Though the last time his Zealots came waltzing into his base, the timer was on 240. And I don't think cannons would finish before 240 if he were to throw down cannons immediately after the Forge finishes, which I assume he's going to do. But they wouldn't finish just in time. Although he hasn't been scouted yet, but there comes the cannon. Cannon will be finishing around 245, I assume. Well, probably 240. So the timing does coincide just right. Cannon here on the other side of the map for Trisha is coming down at around 230. 230 exactly. That's a nice thing to look forward to. 230 cannon timing. 7 at his core is out. Another gas coming out for him as well. Voss mirroring the gas, but a little bit delayed. A little bit delayed, but he went for 2 gateways there instead of 1. Now Trisha is throwing his gateway there. And now that the gas is coming out for Voss, he's making a pylon there to block Zealots from walking over this part here. Smart move. Like, if Zealots try to harass, and they can, like, walk over this part. But now he's blocked them out, and put all of his probes on this side, meaning Zealots can no longer walk through this part here. They're effectively blocked off, gonna have to walk through this way if they want to harass those probes. But there's a cannon there, ready to protect those probes. Smart move. A little bit of SimCity. The relevance and importance of SimCity. Often overlooked, but in practice, once you start analyzing it, it's pretty smart, pretty logical. And then you start doing it yourself. At least most of the time, you start doing those small little things yourself to cover little weaknesses that might catch you off guard. Zealot now coming in. It's going to find that there's a cannon there. It's going to find that there's pylons there as well. Ready to block. Ease of access for the Zealot. Like, it's going to try this exact path that we just mentioned. Right, there's a robotic facility coming out. Right, he sees the pylon, pulls back, knows he cannot get in there. Seal of Doom coming out as well. Seal of Doom has already finished for Trisha. He's also made a Templar's Archive. And this robotic facility is once again going for Templar drops. And a Dark Templar probably as well. And Zealot here mirroring what Trisha was doing. Sees the cannon, pulls back, sees those Zealots, pulls back, wants none of this, regroups with the other Zealots. Now isn't going back in. These Zealots overshooting themselves, trying to go in, trying to snoop up some of those probes. And no, he pulls back, wants none of that after all. Change of colors. Yep, a bit easier on the map. I don't like the colors. Dark blue on the map. Not easy to see from my angle because my screen kind of changes color depending on the angle I'm looking at it, and I'm not sitting directly in front of it. So just gonna use red and blue once again. Zealot's still walking around getting information. Not much going on as of yet. It seems to be somewhat standard if the players aren't going for a Dragoon build. Pretty much you only see real aggression when there's a Dragoon build coming out for either of these two players in a PvP. But once it's Zealots, it's just slow Zealots chasing very slow Zealots. Although Voss is making speed, Trisha is also making speed. Templar is already loaded up for Trisha. I assume he already has Storm upgrade finished as well. There. Oh no, he's got it on the way. Oh, he's the blue one. Alright, so he's the blue one. The other one's the red one. I was making Singularity Charge as well. Added on 3 more gateways, making a skeleton on the side there with the pylons. Voss is mirroring everything quite well, making pylons here on the bottom side of the map just to make sure they just get supply stuck. Like, sometimes you can just afford to do that. Make a bunch of pylons there somewhere in your base because it doesn't really matter. All you need is that Psy count. And he knows. A little bit of a nice opening here. I like that. Intentional or unintentional, I like it. Gives a bit of ease of access for yourself to enter your own next Psy area. Right? Speeded Zealots, chasing down those almost speeded Zealots. But once those speeded Zealots meet the wall here, these Zealots are gonna be speeded Zealots as well, and they're gonna try to throw the curveball on Voss. Voss goes in for the cannon. He's gonna try to take down some of these buildings here. Just trying to take down Zealots. Just gonna take down Zealots after the cannon. He's gonna take down that Goon. The Goon gets got out, but there's a drop here on the bottom. Wait, he just dropped him. Alright, he just dropped him. Damn it. My ability to be aware is absolute garbage. He goes back in. And he doesn't unload it because he's focused on his own base here because he saw that the Reaver was coming in. Reaver gets a shot off on the Zealot. Reaver's now trying to get a shot off on those probes as well. There's no cannons. They're ready to take down that the shuttle the Reaver is in. Reaver gets unloaded, kills a couple of more probes, but most of the probes wind up staying alive. Now there's a huge lead of 44 probes for Trisha over Voss. Voss getting caught off guard with that dropship that I missed. Shuttle that I missed. At least I missed it by 5 seconds. I'm really sad about that one. Observer coming in, ready to spot the Dark Templar, but the cannon has already finished there, and this cannon is not going to spot that Observer because Observer gets pulled back along with Zealot staying outside of the range of that cannon. He's gonna run around, try to kill something. Try to kill a cannon, but it's pretty tough getting in there. He gets to the cannon, arrives on scene, kills the cannon, but his Zealots do pay the price. Another Observer coming in. Another drop getting loaded up for Trisha. Trisha doing an amazing job here of securing himself the advantage over Voss. Although maybe it comes down to Voss not being as vigilant as he should be. Nonetheless, drops it flying over. No map control or map vision for Voss whatsoever, so there's no reaction time whatsoever, but he doesn't get spotted out. Drop leaving at the same time. Drop flies in over to the left side of the base. He's gonna reach that mineral line. Unopposed. Probes cooling off. Gets the storm off. All those probes. Probes are dying. 12 probes have been killed. Voss back to 14 probes in total. His income is decimated in tatters. He's gonna try to pull some offensive moves off here with the Reaver and the Shuttle. He's trying to build himself an advantage by taking Scarabs to maximum use. But Storm comes down on the Reaver. Reaver gets uploaded. The Shuttle goes down to the Dragoons. Thanks to the combined damage of the Storm and the Dragoons, Trisha is calling... Voss is calling the GG here. Trisha is laughing. And that's 3-0 for Trisha. But there's a game number 4. So let's load into game number 4 and see how that one pans out. This game, Trisha pretty much managed to build himself an advantage off that one drop that I missed and Voss missed. And if Voss missed it, then it's no surprise that I missed it, even though I had complete vision over everything on the map. So it's kind of, you know, I'm just incompetent. Anyway, off to game number 4, see how that one plays out, and see if Voss can turn things around. Because if he can't turn this around, it means he's going to be 4-0. And 4-0, oh, that's going to be hurting his pride quite significantly. But all these players about the same level. Trisha just being very solid with his fundamentals. Good macro. Haven't really seen optimal maxed out super pro micro. And he's been lagging behind on base building a little bit. But what matters is that his timings are pretty much absolutely on point. And he's making his drops count. And making your drops count is the difference, in my opinion. Although it also comes down to Voss perhaps missing some of those drops and not sniping them as you should. Well, you know, you always miss something. And being consistent in your attempts to hit a drop can be the difference in losing or winning a game. You should just give up on dropping at all. Sometimes you just, you know, you lose and then you deserve to lose because you haven't really done anything that you were supposed to be doing. Drops are integral on fastest map. They really are. Alright, so both players mirroring their builds. This means there's going to be a lot of fighting going on. This is pretty much a... Are both players here doing a PvT build? Or PvZ build? Regardless of that. Alright, now he's switching it up. They're going for the gas. So they both picked Protoss versus Protoss. I mean, they both for sure picked Protoss versus Protoss in the games prior to this because they were doing very specific Protoss versus Protoss builds. But this looked a lot like a start for a PvT build. Or a PvZ build, in my honest opinion. But they're just mixing things up. Going for a 2 gateway cybernetic core Dragoon build. Not something you often see. Trisha, on the other hand, going for 2 zealots from his 2 gateways at a nexus. And once he finds where Voss is located, I assume he's going to try to get some harass down on those pros, but Voss is thinking the exact same thing. He's going to send this zealot out over the map. Zealots meeting zealots, zealots fighting, no, zealots not fighting zealots, zealots just going to ignore each other. Because Trisha knows that he will get 2 zealots spawning very soon. He's already making a pylon there, already moving his probes to the other side of the mineral patch, so he can protect them from that zealot. Now zealots here entering Voss's base, getting blocked out, clipped by those. Well, he managed to get focus on a probe, kills a probe, fails to kill the second one. Now he's trying to get the second one down. Second one goes down, but there's no more probes outside of this little area. Although that one is outside of it, technically. Zealot here just walking in circles. This Zealot protecting those probes really, really well. Zealot still microing all the way around the base, leading those Zealots around the tail. Zealots here fighting each other. Trisha definitely having a little bit of better multitasking here. Running around, preventing his Zealots from taking damage while still trying to snipe for something to attack with those Zealots. Trisha, in the meantime, has killed the one Zealot that was inside of his base, added on 2 more gateways, so both players now on 4 gateways. But Trisha is on the +1 nexus, now adding on an extra gas, adding on a cybernetics core soon as well. There's a cybernetics core. Now the Dragoons are out for Trisha, which means for Voss, which now means that Voss will try to flip this game on its head with Dragoon Micro. But he has been hurt in his gas income. So we'll be seeing only a single Dragoon coming out right now. Another Dragoon might come out as well. It'll mostly be Zealots, because he killed all the probes that were on the gas. He managed to get in there and get some damage off on more probes. Stops 2 probes from mining even. So now that's a 4 probe lead, which will become an even bigger probe lead once the game progresses a little bit into the later stages. Because he's at extra +1 Nexus. And he's now mirroring Voss by going for his own cybernetic score and probably going for his own Dragoons. Or is he going for speed? He's going for Citadel of Dune. He's going for Zealot speed. He's going to try to counter those Dragoons. And more Zealot probes have gone down here for Voss. Trisha is really showing a clinic of PvP. Showing us how to snipe those probes with great control. He only used 2 or 3 Zealots in the entire process. More Zealots now walking over across the map. 5 of them meeting the front here. But they're meeting 4 Dragoons and 5 Zealots. He pulls away. Dragoons are going to go for the chase on those Zealots. So the Zealots getting cut out. And this does open up the front for those other Zealots that Trisha is now sending out into the middle. And there will be... No. Doesn't open up the map. Because Voss knows what's going on. Sends his Dragoons up to the top side. Chasing those Zealots. But now it means that these Zealots that were officially being chased away are now going to be entering the base of Voss. And Voss is now going to be facing a problem here because he has no Zealots here in the back of his base. He's now going to have to fight those 5 Zealots with his own 5 Zealots, but those 5 Zealots are going to be getting free fire on those probes. And he's going to try to clip his probes into those Zealots, but those Zealots are still going to be able to fire on those probes. And now he already has a 12, 13, soon to be 14 probe lead over Voss, while pretty much being on the exact same psi count for their units. And he has got Zealot Lags on the way here. And level 1 weapons for ground. He's on 7 gateways now. All of them, of course, making Zealots. He's saving up Zealots here on the bottom side of the map, waiting for them to have speed lags so he can catch and surround those Dragoons that will be on the middle. Voss on 6 gateways. He's got a robotics facility out, but he doesn't have a support bay or Templars. He's making a shuttle though, so he's preparing for the drop. But it might not be the wisest investment at this time into the game, because he's 70 probes down and soon to be down in mass units as well. 7 gateways against 6 gateways. Ooh, it's gonna be hurting very soon. And the speed coming up as well. Level 1 weapon upgrade is gonna be a difference maker as well. And Voss tries to catch Trisha off guard by going in preemptively. Tries to get some damage down on those Zealots. Zealots trying to wall off those other Zealots. But the Dragoons eventually do get targeted. But the Zealots now forming a really good wall, denying access to the Dragoons. Dragoons getting free fire on those Zealots, but more Zealots are now streaming out for Trisha, ready to engage in the fight there. But most of the Zealots that he had already gone down, so the speeded timed attack not working out all that well in his favor. A lot of cannons have already been placed all around the base. Trisha now just scouting the base, getting information on the progression of where Voss is at. He manages to kill a probe there with the Zealot, but he wound up losing more units than he wound up killing. But given that he's still ahead, thanks to that +1 Nexus, thanks to that probe harass, Trisha has built himself a big lead over Voss, and it's just a matter of time at this point. Because I don't see a world, definitely do not see a world where Voss makes a comeback from this, unless he manages to hit a massive, absolutely destructive Reaver drop on Trisha within the next minute or so. But Trisha already preemptively making pylons on the sides to get that vision against the drops, because he saw the robotic facility, he saw the robotic support bay, he knows that a Reaver drop is coming very soon. And he's setting it out over the middle of the map, but there's Zealots there, Zealots spotting out that shuttle. So Trisha already also has Dragoons out, so now he's going to try to hunt that shuttle. He's going to try to hunt that shuttle. Shuttle flying away, positioning himself over the hills where it is not targetable by Trisha's units. Trisha's units count is a bit small at this point in time. A lot of Dragoons and Zealots are about to be spawning. And once those units spawn, he can go for the counterattack. He's setting a couple of Dragoons to the side there, knowing the shuttle is going to be coming from the side. He's waiting to intercept it, but Voss is attacking at the same time, which backs Trisha's attention away from the drop here. But the shuttle is slow. Shuttle already took damage. And he goes in. Shuttle doesn't get sniped. Reaver is unloaded though. Reaver doesn't get a shot off on those probes because the Scarab is dudding. Great move from Trisha there to pretty much spread the probes out, blocking the Scarab from landing on anything. Scarab then times out. He managed to fight out the frontal fight as well. Voss now licking his wounds because he's terribly small with a 30 probe deficit on Trisha. Trisha already 50 supply ahead over Voss. Now moving out, preparing himself for that frontal attack. He's got level 1 weapons against level 0 weapons on Voss's Dragoons. Voss now loading up a Reaver there in the back, but he's going to have to use a Reaver for the Dragoon, for the Reaver Shuttle Micro. Try and fight this off, but now his units are getting surrounded. Dragoons got surrounded by those Zealots. Dragoons there in the back, hitting Voss's Dragoons without much problem. He manages to get some damage off on the Reaver. Reaver gets loaded up. Reaver getting some great shots off on those Zealots on the ground there. And more units now spawning for Voss. Voss successfully fights off Trisha's attempt at breaking in. Partially thanks to the Reaver, partially thanks to just having no extra units coming in to reinforce, but more units now on the way for Trisha. Trisha's handling this quite well. He has vision here on the sides. He knows the shuttle is coming. He already moving his Dragoons, ready to intercept that shuttle. Now the shuttle is being targeted, but the shuttle stays alive. Reaver's on the low ground. Reaver gets his shot off on those probes, but none of the probes have gone down. Oh, you see, he gets 10 probes. 14 probes even. He gets 14 probes there. So he at least manages to do some damage with Trisha, but Trisha now already planning on going for the counterattack because he has a shuttle loaded up here with a Reaver and 2 Zealots. Voss still on 1 Nexus, 38 probes. Is not that rich. And if this shuttle drop here manages to land, manages to get a hit off, oh, he's gonna be hurting Voss so much that I just can see him call the GG instantly. Once he loses those probes, there is no vision here on the bottom side of the map. No Dragoons have been put in position to intercept that one. Trisha is just pulling back his units because he knows that if he hits this drop, it will be the game changer because he already has such a huge lead over Voss. Shuttle comes in. Voss does not respond. Reaver gets a shut off on those probes. Pretty much all the probes that Voss had immediately go down. The remaining probes about to go down as we zoom in on this explosion here. Those probes were seconds away from dying. They got saved by the leave. No GG from Voss. Voss rolls over and dies with really poor probe protection in the early game. And pretty much absolutely amazing probe sniping from Trisha, keeping those Zealots alive, circling them around, looking for a window to abuse. And managing to get himself a huge lead over Voss, despite that +1 Nexus build that he pulled off. So great move. Great play from Trisha there. Managing to get himself ahead. I'm going to pause now because there's a game number 5. Will this be a 5-0 or will Voss make a comeback? Will this be one of those comeback series where Voss manages to crawl his way back into the fight? Or will Trisha just put an end to all his hopes and dreams? Because I'm sure that Voss, aka JH, had a lot of dreams going into this series. But looking at the status of this series right now, with a score of 4-0 in favor of Trisha, I don't think he's got a lot of dreams left. They've pretty much been extinguished. But you never know. As that one song says, don't stop believing. Because a comeback might just be around the corner. Last bit is not part of the lyrics, but I'm just gonna pretend that didn't happen. I'm gonna speed up the game a little bit, see what they're doing. Alrighty, starting with a very early barracks on 8-10 instead of a depot on 8-10. That a depot comes on 9-10, then reaches 10-10, then gets supply stuck for a little couple of seconds, and then makes 11-10, well 11-18 barracks after the depot finishes. And there's a third barrack. Really standard stuff. 2 gateways coming over for Trisha. I assume they picked Protoss versus Terran. This is, of course, the very most standard PvT build in existence. Aside from there being no paladin in the choke there. But he does have 2 gateways ready to fight those Marines. Marine moving out. Marine scouting. Marine's gonna have to pull back very soon because the Zealot's gonna meet him. And I think Trisha knows exactly where Voss is located because of the timing of that SCV scout. SCV is running circles here, trying to attack those probes, trying to deal some damage, trying to get vision and keep getting vision for extended periods of time. Zealot's going to the bottom, spot number 6, but he's going to find Voss here on this spot here. Zealot walks into 3 Marines, pulls back. Now he's going to rendezvous with the other Zealot here. And pretty much go back into those 2 Marines and scare those Marines off and force them back into the base. He's pulling away even further. He's not going for the fight, not going for the engagement. He's deciding against it. +1 Nexus has been finishing up. Forge on the way as well. There's a single gas there. Some players like 2 gas. Trisha likes a single one. Fight starting. Single Marine went down right there. Tried to get into the base, but it got shut down. I should be drinking more water because my voice is getting a bit dry. But I'll hang in there. I'll hang in there. Actually, I'm going to pause for a very short second. Alright, I have returned. Although to you it must have been like half a second. To me it was more like 30 seconds, maybe a minute. Of grabbing water, drinking some water, then returning to the scene, pressing play, and pressing play for the game. Right, great Zealot micro here. Slowly inching forward, getting great attacks on those Marines. Marine micro not really working out all that well for Voss. Voss slowly losing his Marines, but now he is winning the fight. But lost a lot of Marines. And more Zealots are going to be reinforcing the Zealots that are right here, right now. Attacking those SCVs. Voss doing a great job putting those SCVs up. We managed to lose an SCV. Loses the second one. Loses a... No, third one gets pulled off as well. Doesn't matter. We managed to kill the 4th one as well. The 4 probes went, 4 SCVs went down. About 10 Marines went down. Huge pickup for only 6 Zealots in total. For Trisha, builds himself a small lead very early into the game. Keeping Voss on his toes. And Voss did not go for the double plus, the +2 or +1 command center before the factory. Which does give Voss a little bit more room to fight, but it also takes away his transition into the post 7-minute game, because you only have that late +1 command center into a early +1 nexus from Trisha. Trisha already adding on a lot of gateways because he knows he built himself an advantage there. Only a single robotics. There's a little of a dune. Single robotics and a single support base. So he's going for a single Reaver push through the front under the support of a lot of Zealots. Because he also knows that Voss is trying to be offensive and aggressive because he saw that he had the factory and the machine shop added on. It means that Voss is going for tanks, which means that Trisha has to go for ground units in response to retaliate against it. Because these cannons here in the front are going to get pushed down by this tank that's rolling up over the map right now. Siege mode is about to finish. Zealot lags have just been started. Reaver is on the way once his shuttle finishes. And Trisha is going for a great choice here to try and counter this. He's making a couple of cannons here behind this cannon line here in the front. Just to make sure that he can preserve the time. Buy himself time for this Reaver to come out. Buy himself time for the Zealot lag to finish. The Zealot lags to finish. And probably for this Templar's Archive to finish as well. So he can probably make 2 or 3 Dragoons. And Voss pulling over SCVs now. Voss is being very, very aggressive. And this might just work. It might work as long as he doesn't lose any units. Ooh, that's the first small mistake. But he manages to stabilize. He's going to focus on that cannon there. Zealot now moving in. Lost another Marine to a cannon. But nothing he cannot afford to lose. Those SCVs here, it's going to have to pull up very, very quick because Dark Templars are on the way. And once those Dark Templars come out, before he has those turrets down, he's going to be absolutely devastating. The engineering bay has finished. And he's going to have to make those turrets right. Voss. Ah, this is going to be absolutely disastrous. Those Zealots are now moving into the fight. The Reaver gets unloaded. Reaver gets a great shot off on those Marines. And the Marines now pulling back. Zealots. Ooh, Zealots are taking out all the Marines so quickly. And he does manage to snipe the Reaver, but now those Dark Templars in the mix as well. Those Dark Templars are now entering the fight, but those tanks are microing backwards quite well. Now the Marines also have to force to pull back. The Templar turret is finishing there. He's managing to block those Zealots with the medics. And actually, Voss does manage to win this fight to a degree. But it cost him his entire mass, and now he has pretty much no mass left against 50 probes from Trisha. Trisha has 6 gateways against 3 barracks from Voss and a single factory. And now he's unloading his Dark Templars inside of the base of Voss, and Voss is not anticipating this because Voss has no scan, has no turrets inside of his base, no units out of his base whatsoever. Frontal push still happening there, but he's now going to be forced to pull back because he notices that the Dark Templars are in his base. The Templars are going to take down the scan, and that's the game. That's the game, because there's no detection, no units, and he's gonna lose pretty much all of his SCVs that are on the minerals because those Dark Templars are taking it down so damn quick. 2 hits per SCV, 3 Dark Templars, denies the turrets, denies the scan. Voss is throwing up a lot of turrets now, but even if he just managed to fight this off, the game is done. It's over. Because he's losing so many units, so many SCVs. He's got 21 SCVs left. He lost about 12. No, not 12. I think about lost about 12 SCVs there in the entire process of those Dark Templars harassing him. Other Templars being dropped there on the side, ready to take down the machine shop and the factory. Barracks on the side being taken down as well, and Voss leaves. Trisha wins 5-0. And beautiful series played by Trisha here. Voss being caught off guard pretty much every single game. Aside from the first game where Trisha played really solid PvP, not spending all of his minerals all that well, but focusing on just building on the advantage that he kept building and kept progressing over Voss. Really well played. The second game was kind of unlucky. Yeah, unlucky strategy selection for both for Voss specifically. Great selection for Trisha, mixing it up, doing something you wouldn't expect. But not really. The game didn't say all that much, and sadly, I even screwed up with the overlay on that game, which I'll probably add in the description or something, telling people to skip ahead a little bit, or they can just watch it. I don't know. They'll probably skip ahead by themselves. Just mention it in the comments. Anyway, JH, aka Voss, the red terror in this game, the whatever color Protoss in all the other games, loses 0-5 against Trisha. Great set of games from Trisha. You really showed up here. Really showed them your all. So that's it. Quick series, 5-0. And I'm going to call it a day. Have fun. Good luck. And see you another time. This is RJB on RJB Starcraft Cast's YouTube channel. Goodbye.